I just really didn't want to be the horror story to come out of COVID. And, I wanted to look back and say, geez, we're in the shit, but we made it out stronger. So, yeah, we came up with a concept and just went in really hard and didn't really stop. Like was really busy for us as a group. So, yeah, we just went for it. And, yeah, it's been really, really good.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. There are many people that once bitten by the hospo bug are destined for a life in the industry. Some love the rush of service, others see an opportunity to create their own venue where they can deliver their interpretation of great hospitality. But what are the foundations required to go out on your own and make a successful business? Leor Haimes is the owner of Saul's Sandwiches in Melbourne, Victoria. Leor, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Huck. How you going?
Good. You started your own businesses at quite a young age, diving into the hospitality industry. What was the drive to create your own venues?
I guess it was just I always sort of had a passion for the industry, and it was just more of a creative outlet for me to sort of express my interpretations of hospitality, and yeah, just sort of always wanted to jump into it to myself, and yeah, just took the plunge and just went for it really at an early age, and I guess it all is paying off now, which is great.
Well, you've got 3 venues now, and we can go into detail with those shortly. Take us back to when you were young and first got interested in food, and what lit the fire for hospitality for you?
I guess it was just sort of my sort of childhood growing up, in a Jewish family, always surrounded by, amazing food and lots of it, and, preparations of big family dinners. And food was always the sort of centerpiece of all the get-togethers. And I just remember always going out with the family, and I was always super excited to check out new restaurants. And yeah, it was just, the seed was planted pretty early for me, and yeah, it's continued. With
food being such an important part within your family when you were young, can you share some of the feasts or dishes that were really integral in that when you were young?
Yeah, like there was always sort of, bagels on the table, and, Friday night dinners with sort of, smoked salmon and big roasts. Yeah, just all sorts of different foods, really. Yeah.
What were the stepping stones for you? You did go out on your own and start businesses at a young age, but where did it all start for you in the industry?
I just remember Mum coming home. I was about 18, kind of just fresh out of school, and she said, "Hey, I was just down at on the street and saw this new bagelry that just opened up in Carnegie," which is actually funny. This is where the first Saul's is actually opened about 10 years later. So yeah, wow. So it's actually a really small world, and it's funny how, things come together. But I remember her coming home and saying, "Hey, there's there was an ad on the window. Why don't you go check out this new bagel shop?" So I went down there and asked them if they had a job, and they said, "Yeah, come in tomorrow." And that's kind of where it all kicked off.
Well, tell us about that bagelry. It's not a very popular item in Australia, although it's come to fruition in the last sort of 5 to 10 years a bit more. What's behind a good bagel?
I just think, the guys there was 3 sisters that opened up that place, and I remember they were sort of running there's still a bagel shop, actually a big bakery now called Glick's. So they sort of took on their own version and opened up their own bagel shop with a modern twist. And yeah, they just did their own version and became really, really busy, and the product was good. And that's kind of where I learnt hospitality. That's where I learnt coffee. That's where I sort of found a passion for coffee, and then went on to, open my first cafe from there about 5-6 years later.
Well, tell us about that first cafe. It's not Saul's Sandwiches. That came later, but the first cafe district brewer in Bentley. What were you doing there?
We were just doing kind of just, basic cafe food. It wasn't super fancy or anything. It was just sort of everything that I like to go out and eat at a cafe. So obviously you had your eggs dishes, and being in Melbourne, you'd have your avo smash, and just doing the simples really well, and, trying to keep it all seasonal and use what was around, local produce, local suppliers. That played a big part in it as well. That was sort of a really good stepping stone into, owning my first business and seeing what actually went into, behind the scenes. It was kind of a wake-up call, but also super fun at the same time.
Do you have any memories of the challenges of what it was like to open up your first venue? Or did anything surprise you about running a small business?
Oh, it all surprised me. It was it was really full on. There's just the amount of things that go on behind the scenes that you just don't know about when you're working for someone else, and it all gets real really fast. It kind of just smacks you in the face. You open the doors and you do your service, and it's not just pack up and go home. It's pack up, stay back, make sure everything's ready for the next day. And then you've got paperwork and, staff to talk to. It's full on. And it took me, a long time to adjust and get used to it.
You ended up opening a different venue in Bentley East, but there was a lot of challenges and stress involved in that. Take us back to that time and what you went through.
Yeah. So we sold District Brewer in 2018, and soon after that, I learned quickly that I couldn't sit on my ass and do nothing. So I went out to look for a new venue and found this beautiful old. It was an old church, like a heritage listed building, which was turned into a gallery called the Breslin Gallery. And we really gunned for that site. We spent quite a bit of money on getting permits, going to council and all these plans and everything. And then it was actually knocked back by council, and we were super shocked. And it was kind of scary because we spent, close to $100,000 before even getting in there. So it was insane. That was sort of what happened.
From a business perspective, it was a larger venue. Did things change for you, and were there different challenges that you weren't aware of?
Yeah, in terms of a larger venue, there was just more. Well, you've got more, your bigger footprint. So with a bigger footprint comes, higher budget and more money, and obviously your cost of goods are bigger. You get your first BAS, and that's also it's a really big shock to the system when you get that, and you're like, geez, we've worked so hard, and you've just got to give all that, nearly most of it back, and it's just you chase your tail a lot with a over 100-seat cafe. It's a lot. There's a lot of baggage and overheads, but we kept going, and obviously that got knocked back, and we started to look for a new site once we recovered some of that money.
COVID's affected a lot of the industry, but it really transformed and changed the shape of what you do as a business person and what you offer. Tell us about what impact it had on you.
For us, luckily, COVID was actually it was really good. We opened up a new concept because we were just selling a shitload of sandwiches from our cafe, which was called Time and Place. And I just really didn't want to be a horror story to come out of COVID. And, I wanted to look back and say, geez, we're in the shit, but we made it out stronger. So, we came up with a concept and just went in really hard and didn't really stop. Like was really busy for us as a group. We just went for it, and it's been really, really good.
Well, tell us about this concept that you created. You launched it back in October last year, Saul's. What's the concept behind it?
Well, it's kind of got it's a sandwich shop essentially, but it's got a bit of an American sort of sub feel to it. We do New York style sandwiches. It's just got a really fun vibe. There's a bit of nostalgia connected to the brand, and it's really just something for everyone. Everyday sandwiches. It's basically what it is.
You also opened in Hawthorne this year. Tell us about that business and what it took to open the second venue.
Well, Hawthorne happened probably about four months after the Carnegie one, and the one in Carnegie was just going really, really well, and people were sort of asking us to sort of come over to the other side of town, and it was just we found this shop in Hawthorne. It was really funny. It's actually next door to a clothes shop called First Product. This clothes shop actually belongs to a mate of mine, Nick, he used to come to Huff Bagelry when I was working there, and I would always make him coffees, and so I've known him ever since then, and we actually went out to look at the shop in Hawthorne, and he saw us there, and he was like, he spun out because he didn't actually know that Saul's belonged to us. He'd been coming down to the Carnegie store every Sunday, and he's like, I go there every week with my kids. We grab a sandwich, grab an iced latte, and just sit in the boot of the car and just eat our sandwiches. And then he saw us. He's like, I thought this was an American chain. I thought it was a franchise from overseas. So it was just really strange how he didn't actually know, who it belonged to, and it was just a real spin out when he saw us down there.
This episode is proudly supported by Montague, handpicked for you.
The things that we're really looking for in plums, first of all, they've got to be sweet. We're really looking for a full flavour explosion in our plums. Red flesh is critically important to us, higher in antioxidants, so all that good stuff. And then we're also looking at a slightly firmer texture. So there's almost a little crunch. That's the real driver for us.
For more information, go to montague.com.au.
You say that it's inspired a little by America, but what makes a great sandwich? And do you have a couple of examples on the menu you can tell us about?
Yeah, I think the hoagie that we do, it's kind of like it's a deli cold cut sandwich. So we've got 3 different types of cold deli meats in there, which we've got like a salami, mortadella, and a ham as well. And it's just, so it's layered with cheese. We've got our aioli. We make a pesto as well. And it's just a really nice big deli sandwich that it's an everyday item. It just really has that sort of that feel to it.
How did you go about developing the menu and ensuring versatility and quality sandwiches?
Well, we did a lot of trial and error at time and place through COVID. That's where the idea was really born. We would just put out different sandwich specials every day, and we'd get feedback from all our customers. And the real favourites, we worked on them and we tweaked them till we were happy with the product.
Where did your inspiration for opening an American-inspired sandwich shop come from?
We've been to a lot of sandwich shops, and sort of delis around, Victoria and Australia, and we've been overseas. I've been to Vietnam, and just the way they do sandwiches there, their banh mi's and all that kind of stuff. We just wanted to, it is versatile. Like there's a lot of inspiration from different places, not just obviously New York, but it comes from many places.
You've, as a business, grown exponentially just in the last 2 years. What's been some of the challenges and sort of successes that you've had along the way that surprised you?
Well, the challenges of I guess with Saul's is that it's grown super fast. So just trying to keep up with with that has been a challenge in itself in terms of, production and production and, all the staff that it actually takes to run the business. We've had to employ a lot of people quite fast. It has had its challenges, but it's also enabled us to take it to the next level and really push the business from the back end.
You've made a real success in the last year and a half, but not without its challenges. You've also become a dad. What's it been like for you personally the last year and a half?
Yeah. It's been that's been incredible. So I've just had a young boy. His name's Sonny. That's obviously also had its challenges, but been really, really cool at the same time. You don't actually know what to expect before you have kids, but when it happens, it really does change everything and puts everything into perspective. But it's not that easy to go to work first thing now. You got to clean nappies and do things that you've never done before. So your work-life balance it does change, and it does come with challenges.
A sandwich is made up of many parts. Do you have any producers and suppliers that you work with?
So we actually work really closely with a local bakery that does a lot of custom rolls for us. So that's really exciting, that we have a certain bread that, you can't really get anywhere else. We also use, sort of other artisanal bakers that have really, really nice products, and we mix it up. We mix all different things up, really. Just depends what kind of sandwich we're doing and what bread we're using. It really just depends on what's inside it.
The local milk bar and the café have really become hubs of the community in Australia and integral in the way we socialise. What do you think of Australia's sort of cafe culture compared to that overseas?
It's unique. I think the cafe culture here is unique, and you can't really. It's not really the same in other countries that I've been to. I guess Victoria especially takes its coffee pretty seriously, and there is quite a lot of cafes around. But it's got a special feel to it, and I think it's like I said, it's quite unique.
What sort of feedback have you received from customers in local communities over the last year and a half, and the impact you've had on them?
Oh, I think they're just happy that we stuck around through COVID, and they actually had a bit of an outlet. In Victoria, that people were locked up, for months and months and months due to the lockdowns. And I think them just being able to come to the cafe and grab a coffee and take an hour out of their house and just, go for a walk, I think they'll really appreciative of just us being there for them and having a yarn when they get there. And there was a lot of grateful people around.
Victoria, as you mentioned, had lockdown for a long time and real challenges, but a lot of Australia is currently locked down as well, and a lot of hospitality businesses are struggling. As someone that's made some success during this period out of adversity, what sort of advice do you have for those currently dealing with a lockdown, given the long lockdowns that you experienced? Yeah, well,
just my advice to people in business and hospitality right now would be make sure that if you pivot quickly, don't think on an idea. If you need to change something overnight, I would recommend doing that. If it's so volatile at the moment and things are changing every day. So, that would be my advice, that if you think something's not right, you can actually do a lot in 24 hours, and you can change your offering, and, you can keep your cost of goods down. Doing takeaway only.
What sort of plans do you have for the future of Saul's?
Yeah, I think there's a future there. I think at the moment we just want to consolidate a bit for the rest of the year, and we have plans to open more stores, and also we're looking at possibly New South Wales and a couple over there. So yeah, there is plans, but we want to take the rest of the year just to actually consolidate the group and actually see where we stand.
You mentioned some of the sandwiches that you have on the menu, but do you have a favourite, or is there one on the menu that you think might surprise people you can tell us about?
Yeah, I reckon the roast porchetta is brilliant. Yeah, it's probably my favourite. It's got like a rolled and roast porchetta. We'd have a Comté cheese. We've got like a chili braised greens and a beautiful, nice ciabatta roll, and it's a flavour orgasm.
For someone that always wanted to open their own business, how has opening Saul's changed your life since?
It's definitely made me a lot busier, but it has also changed my job as a person and I guess as a leader. It's go back 12 months and I was basically just full-time managing my own cafe, but now Saul's has opened up so many more doors for me, and it really there's a lot more running around, but it's like I said, it's changed my job completely and I love it. Yeah, it's great.
Well, with the success of Saul's and 3 venues now, what do you love about what you do?
To be honest, I love the challenge, and I love the busyness, and I love traversing through throughout the 3 different venues and just fixing problems, because there's always something to fix. And I just really I love the challenge that it brings.
Well, Leor, we've loved having you on Deep in the Weeds to hear your story today, and look forward to seeing many more Sauls, perhaps across Australia over the next couple of years, because we all love a good sandwich. Please keep in touch, and we'll catch up again soon.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Huck. Cheers.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.